Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's good to see you guys. I'm glad you're here. Let's have a wonderful evening, get something wonderful done. We're going to start with a spiritual mind treatment. So join me in knowing the truth, that there is a presence and a power that dwells in, through, and as all things. It's right here. It's right now. It always has been, it always will be. It transcends time and space. And in this time-space continuum, it is always present everywhere, including at the point of each of us. And I know that that is the creative source of all that is. It's the creative origin of our animation, our intelligence, our expression, and our experience. And that we come together to remember this and to experience it at an even deeper and more meaningful way as we peruse this idea of prosperity. And I'm grateful for each one that joins in this good work, each one that brings their thoughts and ideas to it, each one that uses this that we discuss to create a clearer understanding of their path. And with that certainty of knowing, I simply let this be the truth, and we move forward and do our good work tonight. And knowing that that's so, I invite us all to say together in gratitude and love, and so it is. There it is. Hey. Wonderful. Week 6. We have 2 more times to gather, and then we'll be complete. What I want to say about that this is my last class, and I just wanted to forewarn you, we're going to have some work to do to continue this work that we've been doing all along and finalize it next week. And then the following week, the last time that we meet at the end of the month, we're going to sit in a circle and give each of you an opportunity to speak to what you have gained from this and how you are using this in your life. And so by doing that, we'll all be able to just share our hearts that night. So I didn't want to lay that on you as a surprise the last night that we're here, so I just thought I'd tell you now. All right, so that's what we're doing. Tonight, we begin, as we have through this process, with meditation. And the topic and direction of our meditation tonight is the creation of greater abundance. Anybody have a problem with that? Seems to fit with our theme, my notes. So, of course, how we begin with just relaxing into the moment. By closing our eyes and doing whatever we need to do to just be completely present and gently move into this state of meditation. To receive whatever is in the midst of this journey into a greater abundance that may serve us. So be comfortable. However that means for you to organize your body so that it can relax as best it can in a folding chair. Or if you're experiencing this online, find a comfortable place to be. A place that serves you and your body so that you can receive these ideas. And as you're settling into your seat, let these words that I offer you flow over you like a gentle breeze. Allow your hands to rest gently in your lap or by your side, however that works, so that your shoulders can relax and your back can relax and your neck can relax. All the way into that state that feels almost weightless, with no resistance and nothing that would prevent you from fully experiencing this moment. Now let's focus on the breath by slowly taking in a wonderful, deep, enriching, nurturing breath. And allow that breath to continue the relaxation of your body. And then as you release it, know that you're releasing things that would have held any kind of tension or resistance. And when you're ready, breathe again and release. And again and release. Now, as we continue this process of relaxation, I invite you to begin at the top of your head, allowing a sense of relaxation to float down across your scalp and your forehead, allowing yourself to relax even more right there at the top of your body, relaxing your eye muscles, your jaw, relaxing your ears and your nose, your chin, even your tongue, to where your breathing is effortless. Now let this peaceful feeling flow down your neck. Feel it soothe your throat and dissolve any tension as it moves down to your shoulders and then down your upper arms, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, relaxing all the way to your fingertips. Now let this peaceful sensation of relaxation begin to empty your torso of anything that doesn't need to be there. Feel your chest relax. Feel the beautiful rhythm of your heart. Be aware of your heart opening to the love that is all around you. Allow your heart energy center to open to greater levels of giving and receiving. Soften the muscles of your abdomen. Let them soften as they release any tension in or around your internal organs. Now let your back muscles release any tension, starting at your shoulders and going all the way down to the base of your spine. Continue to breathe in deep, fluid breaths. Breathe in vibrant health, happiness, and harmony. Breathe out any tension, any toxins, any worries or disease, allowing anything that doesn't serve you to leave your body easily, effortlessly. Now send that peaceful, relaxing feeling down into your hips and your buttocks. Let that feeling glide down your thighs, relaxing your legs completely as it flows down to your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, all the way to your toes. Allowing any remaining tension from anywhere in your body to flow out of your toes, leaving your whole body feeling incredibly comfortable, peaceful, and relaxed. Continue to breathe deep, relaxing breaths, feeling your belly rise on the inhale and fall on the exhale. Be aware of how the air feels cool as you breathe it in and warmer as you breathe it out. Now imagine a glowing orb of light, pure white light, hovering about a foot above the crown of your head. And with your next inhalation, breathe that light in through the top of your head and down through the center point of your body, all the way down to the base of your spine. And as you exhale, breathe that light back up all the way and out the top of your head. Now do that again. Breathe that light in through the top of your head and down, down, down to the root energy center. Exhale it as you send that orb of light back up and out the top of your head. Now do it one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Now focus on your root energy center and bring that white light all the way to the base of your spine. And visualize it changing into a vibrant red ball of light. Right there at your root center. Your root center brings health, security, and a dynamic presence that connects you to the very earth. Feel it connecting you to those subtle energies that radiate from the earth. That those energies radiate power and vitality. See yourself living in a state of absolute vibrant health, happiness, and gratitude. Recognize the boundless energy that is moving through your body. Be aware of your perfectly balanced immune system. Notice how good it feels to have all the energy you desire, and how you are able to do this so fully and completely. Now take a moment just to feel grateful for your magnificent body. Your body's the only one like it anywhere. And it's just for you. Feel yourself expressing more health than you ever have before. Vibrant health. Glorious health. Growing stronger with every breath. Now be aware of that vibrant red chakra, continuing to glow and spin as you move it up to your sacral energy center, located just below your navel. Here, see that radiant glowing ball of light turn to a bold orange. This energy center vibrates with the energy of money, of personal power, of sexuality, and of creativity. Breathe into that rich, beautiful orange light and feel its gifts of enthusiasm, sexual fulfillment, prosperity, and abundance. See yourself experiencing true wealth on every level, being grateful for the abundance in your life right now and always. Imagine riches flowing to you in expected and unexpected ways. Let this energy center continue to glow and spin as you move that light up to your solar plexus, right at the center just below your sternum. At this point, see this glowing ball of light become a brilliantly bright yellow. As you breathe into this brilliant light, feel your joy, your self-worth, and your personal power expanding. See yourself wonderfully successful and deeply fulfilled, doing the work that you love to do. Feel your ball of glowing yellow light empower you as it moves up to your heart center. Here, visualize the light becoming a radiant green. This is the energy center that recognizes all of the love that surrounds you and everyone in your life. Feel its gifts of compassion, self-acceptance, and forgiveness. Breathe into this green light and let your awareness expand. See yourself living in perfect harmony with everyone and every aspect of your life. Let it fill you with gratitude for the opportunity to live in such a wonderful and beautiful place. Now let this light continue to glow and spin as it gently moves up to your throat energy center, where it becomes a magnificent iridescent blue. This energy center supports you in communicating the truth and wisdom of your life. This is where you express yourself with confidence and clarity. As you breathe into this blue light, see yourself happily expressing your uniqueness. Focus on the joy you express when you sing and dance and play and have fun. Allow this beautiful blue light to continue glowing and spinning as it gently moves up to your third eye energy center at the center of your forehead. See the light become a strikingly blue indigo color. As it glows, your imagination, your intuition, your inner knowing, and your wisdom all expand within you. This energy center supports you as you pursue your personal desired outcomes, as you continue your spiritual awakening. From this place, you can see and reveal your ideal life. Now, as this indigo light continues to glow and spin, move it once more up to your crown energy center, right at the top of your head, seeing it become a pure, ecstatic, violet light. This center supports your spiritual awareness, your highest range of thoughts, and your dedication to serve others. Breathe into this violet light as your crown center reveals the gifts of self-knowledge, spiritual connection, and blissful beingness. Here you are living in wisdom and your highest spiritual awareness. This is your connection to all that is divine. This is where you joyfully contribute to life in the most meaningful of ways. Let this violet center glow and spin as you bring your awareness back to the white glowing light above your head. Allow the violet light to diminish as the white light expands. Now watch as this white light transforms into a golden light, a light that shines down through your entire body. Breathe that golden light in through your crown, your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, your sacrum, all the way down to your root center. And with a gentle exhalation, allow the light all the way back up to above your head. As the light passes through each chakra, see the light becoming golden coins falling all around you. Let these coins represent the gifts and attributes of your life. Visualize this golden light above your head becoming more sparkling gold coins. This is the radiance of your life, a life filled with everything you could ever desire. Stay in this act of divine receiving, where all your dreams, all your desires come true. And know these things for yourself. You are always able to release any worries and replace them with empowering and optimistic thoughts about your life. You're clear that life takes care of all of your needs, and you're open to all the goodness that life has to offer. You see the abundance of life everywhere you look. It's the natural state of things. You naturally radiate love, peace, and happiness in all that you do. You have within you everything it takes to create a wonderful life. And you are a prosperous, generous, and highly evolved spiritual being who makes life better by being exactly who you have come here to be. Let that wash over you. That is the truth of you. And when you are ready, simply reconnect with your body. Release the light. And as you become more connected, more aware, move a finger or a toe, and perhaps a hand or a foot. Take one more deep breath and smile as you accept all this good in your life. And as you're ready, gently open your eyes. Welcome back, prosperous being of love and light. This is the truth of you. Namaste.
That was a good one. Thank you, John.
Yay. Good. Yay. So I'll just give you a moment to settle out of that or into it, whichever way you want to go. Again, it's good to see everyone tonight. It's good to know there are still lots and lots of people that are watching us online. Yay. Some of you have watched us online, I know. Glad to know that. And we have another wonderful night of work planned. So let's review where we were last week. We had gotten to this conversation, move this on here. We've gotten to this conversation about desired outcomes. It didn't come as quickly in the evening as I planned, but seldom does it work out like I planned, so you just kind of go with it. And I sent everyone home with the task of beginning to come up with your bucket list, with those ideas that are calling to you, things that you want to bring into your life that you haven't so far. And the idea of switching, I've never used the term bucket list before, but I think that it has merit. Because, not just about the joke that it's what you want to do before you kick the bucket, but really about how do you want to perceive the rest of your time in this body in your life? What is yours to do? What is yours to experience? What is yours to receive? That's all part of the mix. And so I sent you home with this task without really many boundaries or ideas of what parameters you're looking at. Just start putting together a list. So my first question tonight is, who put together a list? Please raise your hand noticeably. Lovely, lovely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great, wonderful. So I have a survey for you. I have questions. If you didn't do that work yet, you're going to have a little extra work to do tonight. Thank you, all of you that did do it. So you don't, you have work too, but not quite as strenuous an activity. But I have questions for you that did the work so that you can start seeing where you are in the mix here. So my first question to you, I want you to raise your hand. And really, this is, again, just for those that did the work. So my first question to you, who has 10 or more outcomes on your list? Okay, looks okay. All right, thank you. Let's see. Who has achievement dates connected to each of your outcomes? Okay, that's an important piece of the puzzle.
I did about half of it.
Well, you have more work to do. That's what we're doing. We're looking at where we are in this, okay? Who has outcomes that you imagine achieving after the year 2032? That's so sad. You're all going to die in less than 10 years.
Easy.
Well, it's a bucket list. This is for the rest of your life. Yeah, I'm playing with you now, but the point is that Western mind tends to think short term. Ooh, what do I want to do in the next couple of years? That tends to be, and I left it open intentionally for you to see where you were. Oh, no, this is what I'm going to do next year and maybe the year after. That's not a bucket list. A bucket list really kind of reaches and imagines and looks beyond that. Okay? So there's more work to do, is what the point. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying there's more work to do. Okay? There is a question here?
Yeah, you had mentioned last week that we should set a date to create a sense of urgency. And for me, 2032 is not a sense of urgency.
Well, it creates a tension. I don't know that I use the word urgency, but I did say it creates a tension between now and then.
Right.
But it's the Western mind. The Eastern mind thinks in terms of generations. Their planning goes for their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and so on. The things they do, they know. Even Native Americans do that. They think in terms of 7 generations, meaning the past 7 generations are influencing who I am here, and the future 7 generations I'm impacting with what I'm doing right now. So what I'm saying is let's expand our mind beyond that. Now, I know that the further out you go, the less likely that you're going to be completely accurate. I know that. But that's okay. This isn't about tying yourself to things. It's about expanding your sense of who you are and what you're doing in this lifetime. That's the sense that you're looking for. You know you're going to do some of these things in the next couple of years. And I'm not saying you're to get rid of them. That's not the problem. There's not a problem. What I'm saying is let's expand our sense of this so that you've actually got some things out there. All right? So yes, question.
Just a quick question. I mean, does it have to be a physical date, or can you say for the rest of my life?
Well, an outcome can begin right now, but you're looking for things that you're stretching into, that you're expanding into. So to me, to say that sounds more like a resolution to me, if I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Or if you said every day in every way,
You know, I'm not saying that this is wrong, but what I'm saying is
put a day on?
you're talking about behavior right now. I'm talking about what are you giving to life and what are you getting from life. And the Western mind also, and I don't have a problem with this, but the Western mind also tends to want to look heavily at what I'm going to get. It's just how we're wired. Eastern mind doesn't really work that way. They don't expect to get much. And even in the West, we've got the Christian, the Judeo-Christian concept of you'll get your rewards in heaven. So, you know, if you live poorly and don't have much and don't do much now, if you just follow the edicts of the church, you'll be fine. I think there's more to life than that. So that's what I'm suggesting is let's open this up to possibilities. And I know you guys have things you want to do. I'm looking at you going, I know you. You want to do things in this world. Many of you have already done extraordinary things, traveled, experienced different cultures, done amazing things in this lifetime. What is left for you to do? Now, and I'm not even saying that you have to make some deep commitment to where you can't die until you do all these things. But the idea of having things on your list gives you a good reason to get up in the morning. Gives you good reason to do the things that need to be done to move in that direction. I know that there are many people that have these kinds of lists and don't do all of them because they leave their bodies. I'll get you. But they had the list, so they got a lot done. Who's the minister in Houston? No, not one of ours. She's in Dallas. Joel Osteen. He once talked about his father's list. His father had some great stuff on his list that he never did. But what happened was many of those things were passed to Joel. And Joel did them. That's pretty cool. So, you know, maybe that's how it unfolds. It's somebody else's to do, but you put it on your list and you have some level of investment in it. So what I'm doing right now with you is asking you to expand your consciousness of this idea of desired outcomes beyond these short-term things. I mean, people do it that way. I know that it's done, but I have found that's a very limiting way, and I want you to expand into this idea and play a bigger game as we do this work. So I said 2032, that's 10 years from now. How about 2027? Anybody got anything on their list? Got one person, two people, three people have something beyond 5 years. Excellent. Okay, that's great. That's great. And you all have more work to do to go beyond that. Really, now let's see, I've got one in here that's going to speak to this. Let's just go down my list. Who has one or more outcomes where you have absolutely no idea how to achieve it? Good. That's wonderful. Now that's expansive. Little sweaty palms going on? Good. That's what you want. You want to live in the mystery of life a bit. There's two major elements that everyone must deal with in life: certainty and uncertainty. Certainty are the things we know are going to happen, that are happening every day, that we can count on. Sometimes we're delusional about our certainty, but for the most part, we have some sense of security that these are the things that I can count on. Uncertainty is different, and most of us want some level of uncertainty. That's why we go on adventures, or we go on rides at parks and things, so that we can get the wit scared out of us. That's a level of uncertainty. It's short-lived and it's artificial, but that's why we have those kind of things. When we used to do firewalks, high level of uncertainty, but it only lasted a couple hours. And then you had, most people had a level of certainty to follow that, so that wasn't an issue anymore. You want on your list somewhere something you haven't figured out. As much as, you don't have to pack it with levels of uncertainty, but that helps the process to have some amount of uncertainty there, because you don't want to have it all figured out. If you have it all figured out, what's the point? Where are you stretching the envelope? And two, I want to let you know, I'm not asking you all to do world-shattering things and to show up on the front page of the paper, or have people write books about you. That's not it. It doesn't have to be those kinds of things. It could be just making peace with someone who you've been at war with for the last 20 years. Something you don't know how to do it because you've tried and you gave up. But maybe there's something there still to do. Some action you can take that could maybe carry you into a better understanding of that other person. And that just came to me as an idea. There are lots of things like that you can put on your list that are very personal, that really are just something that you feel unresolved about, that you could take care of. And the best way to do it is to put it on the list. Give yourself a little time there. I mean, again, they don't all work out. I once had on my list that I was going to meet Sai Baba. Can you imagine? I had a rough day when I heard he'd made his transition. In fact, I talked about him the next Sunday. He died in the same week that Osama bin Laden died, by totally different circumstances. So I compared their lives. Have you all heard this story? I gave a talk. Actually, somebody walked out. Barbara told me, I didn't see it, but somebody got upset that I was talking about Osama bin Laden and walked out. But I was comparing their lives and talking about all the good that Sai Baba had done in India. He had opened hospitals and supported thousands, probably millions of people with his life. And how Osama bin Laden had gone to war with the United States and gotten a very different outcome from that. And their lives ended in very different ways. All of it happened the way it was supposed to, but it really, to me, showed me how different it was. Years ago, there was a Sai Baba devotee that lived in Asheville, and I visited his shop in downtown Asheville. And he had just returned from India, and he asked me if I'd ever had vibhuti. Anybody know what vibhuti is?
No.
Vibhuti is an ash. It's a white, grayish ash that came from Sai Baba. It came from his hands. He would just sit there and do this, and vibhuti would fall into enormous piles. And his people would take it and store it, and it would be shared around the world. So this guy brought some back, and he brought out his little thing of vibhuti. And he said, would you like some? And I said, what do you do with it? He said, will you eat it? So he said, hold your hand out. And he took a little pinch. I don't remember how he did it, but he put it in my hand. I said, well, what do I do with it? He said, eat it. So Barbara got hers, I got mine. And I ate it. And it was interesting. It had a taste that almost tasted perfumey. It was fascinating. And I was just standing there, we were talking in his store. And at some point I looked back down to my hand, and there was another little pile of vibhuti. My friend was quite impressed. So the week that he died, I had gotten vibhuti as a gift. And I had this little container about this big. And I kept it in my office in a little rosewood box. And I brought the box. I had the box that morning down in the sanctuary, and I took the lid off. And I said, what we're going to do, any of you are Catholic or understand the idea of communion, you're going to know what this is. We're going to create a line here in the front of the room, come to the center, get in line, and I'm going to give each of you an amount of vibhuti similar to what I got the first time I did it. And so people came up, and it was a little Coke spoon that I bought at the drug place in town. And I gave everybody their little bit of vibhuti, and everybody carried it back. And when we got to the end, the last person came through the line, I gave them theirs, and my box was empty. I tapped it, and all the little pieces collected, and it was enough. When I poured it in my hand, I had the same amount everybody else did. And we all took the vibhuti. And it was a lovely experience.
I remember that
Yeah.
because when you brought it out, I'm thinking, there's no way that's going to.
And it was perfect for the people in the room.
When was that?
When's that? What's that?
When
Oh, I don't remember. You could look it up. Historically, it was the week he died. The week he made his transition. I'm sure it's on Google. 3 weeks later, in the mail, and I said, that's it. I will never have that again. 3 weeks later, I got a package in the mail from someone I did not know. And they said, I watched what you did online.
Oh,
Here's your vibhuti. And it was 3 times the amount I had had.
wow.
Yeah.
3 grams?
3 times. I don't know how much it was. I've never measured it. I never would. But it was 3 times the amount I initially had. Yeah. So that for me it was a real exercise in prosperity, in the abundance of life. And it was mystical all at the same time.
So, taking the vibhuti, is that change you in any, I mean, what's the purpose?
You were thinking it. It was an acknowledgement of this mystical man that came to earth, who when someone say, why can you do all the things you can do and I can't? His answer was, because I know that I'm God and you think you are, but you don't really know it.
Dennis, could you spell his name?
Saibaba, 2 words.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we played enough with that. Let me take you through the rest of my questions, because I am using up our time. Who has one or more outcomes that involves the acquisition of greater amounts of wealth? Everybody, because that's what we do in the West. Nothing wrong with it, absolutely. But we don't want that to take over our whole focus, because that's what we do. I want more money. Money is great, no problem. We just don't want it to be the central focus, which then brings us to other questions. Who has one or more outcomes that involves improving or evolving your relationships? Good, that's wonderful. Who has one or more outcomes that involves the acquisition? No, I did that wealth. Then I did relationships. Who has one or more outcomes that involves your bodily health? Nice, very nice. Here's something you could put as an outcome in your life. How long are you going to be on the planet?
120 years.
Then put that down.
Already
But you don't say 120 years, you put the date down. I will be in this body. And let it go by, and you put the date in.
Okay, well,
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
okay,
Yeah, you follow the kind of order things because you want to say it happens by then. Otherwise, you won't have a constant reference point on it. It's a good way to do it. Okay, who has outcomes that address what other meaningful gifts you'll be bringing to the world? Nice, very nice, good. So that's the game. Is yes, you get to have lots of stuff, but you also must bring more of yourself to the world. That's the trade-off. That's how you are in that dynamic flow of spirit. What else have I got here? You want balance in that. Okay, so tonight we're going to work on developing this list further. If you haven't started with your list, it's time to start. And what we're going to do is just allow you to work on moving this into a greater level of development. Making sure you're giving dates, pushing it out, maybe having the one that's pushed out the most, the date of that you would transfer out of this life, that you would transition out of this life. Sai Baba gave a date when he was going to live, and everyone misunderstood it. And when they went back and compared it to the original way that in the Ayurvedic origins, you would apply a date, it fit perfectly, but it didn't apply when you used the Christian calendar. Who else did it? The Maharishi, what's his name?
Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
That one. Yes, thank
The
you.
guy long with all the flowers.
He actually knew when he was leaving. He went to a meeting and said, now has come the time. And his body just fell to the floor. Cool. I was in a meeting with on a radio program. I was listening to the radio program. I was next to be a host, invited to be a guest by the host, but the person ahead of me was in the middle of talking about being a religious science minister and about her journey with that. And somewhere in the midst of that, stopped talking. And it took them about an hour to find out she had passed right there. And I went, whoa, I want to do it that way, just not now. You know, so there's something good about claiming your time on the planet. You know, and pick a healthy time. And then look, what am I going to do with all this time? Because I'm not going to spend it sitting in a nursing home. What am I going to do to keep vibrant and vital in my life? You start thinking about things, and then they have a real possibility of occurring. So that's something for you all to look at. Other hands went up. Who wants to ask a question?
Just a question.
Yes, sir.
What about the people that they're talking about in the scriptures of the Bible, whatever else, 900 years, 700 years, 500 years?
The explanation I've often heard is they counted years differently back then. I don't know. I have a teacher who once claimed that she was going to live for over 200 years. She's let that go now. I don't know why. But, you know, okay, you could do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. You want to live for 200 years? Do it. People eventually probably will if we don't blast ourselves off the planet. So, you know, but do what feels good to you.
So
You know-
I'm saying, like, how do they describe that? Like, from my viewpoint, it'd be more like they're counting moons instead of years.
Maybe, and that may well be it. It may well be that. I mean, there are people written in the Bible that were supposed to be in their 80s having babies. So, you know, were they using a different calendar? I think so. But what does that mean? I don't know. And I can't answer that. I'm not an authority on such things. Who else had their hand up?
I had a question
Yes.
about phraseology, because I was thinking we should write this like we already have it. Is that,
No.
no?
For this, that's what you do in treatment. And that's absolutely appropriate when you're doing spiritual mind treatment, is that you say it's happening now. And if you want to do treatment around this, great. That's wonderful. But in this aspect, you're creating a timeline. You're using time as an element of this to make it work. It's not a bad thing. You know, if you said you had all these things right now, it would probably overwhelm your mind. You wouldn't probably believe it. So this way, if you want to take on one thing and treat it into existence by knowing it's so right now, brilliant, wonderful. But for the purpose of creating your list of desired outcomes, give it a date, at least a year. If it's in the first few years, give it a month too.
I understand that, and I think my dilemma is that in the quantum, things already exist.
Sure they do.
So that's what I'm thinking, but it might not come into fruition until a specific time.
Right, but what you're doing is denying yourself the tension I'm talking about. Which in treatment, you don't want tension. You want to work without tension. But for the purpose of looking how everything fits together in your life, having a date is helpful. And you don't let it bum you out. You let it inform you that you have a priority of things chronologically and also in importance. And those are different things. So you may have something you're not going to get done for 8 or 10 years, but it's really important that you do that in this lifetime. You know, you might think there's nothing to do about that right now, but I guarantee you there is, if only to think about it every day. So that's some of the work that you'll be doing after the class is complete, is having a regular way to review these on an ongoing basis so you're planting them deep in your subjective mind. Okay? So I hear what you're saying, Darcy, and you're absolutely right about the idea, but that's applying to treatment in the truth of all life, where in this case you're really crafting a timeline. Okay?
So many things that have come on my bucket list, I've just made a declaration that they're gonna happen.
And I want you to do that.
And they have.
And they have, of course they have. I'm not saying I don't want you to give that up. But for this exercise, create them in a way that you can see them unfolding
Okay,
in time and space.
okay,
Okay?
okay.
Yes.
So I have perspective on this because I did these same exercises, I think with Barbara.
You're speaking enough that we're going to put you on this microphone so that people who are watching this online can participate. Here, come up. Yeah, absolutely. Let people see who's talking.
All right. So I've been to enough of these classes now. It's been a while,
Right.
but I probably did this exercise with Barbara 12 years ago and the one on values too. And I need to go dig out my notes. But what I'm noticing this time around, doing this exercise, is that I'm resisting wanting to write things down. And it has to do with how overwhelmed my plate is right now. And I imagine you know a little bit about that. So I am going, I noticed I only put one thing in the next year.
Good. That's
Like,
all right.
One thing, and it's,
What about all these things that you feel overwhelmed about? Did you put them on the list in this year?
no,
Go ahead, put them on there.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, create a little detachment from them.
Can I raise my children in 1 year?
No, you can't.
Okay.
You're going to do that regardless.
Okay, it's just the point of life I'm in, being
I don't know how you're raising
between
those
my,
two kids. They're amazing.
I don't know either. It's a village, right? But it's my mom and it's my kids and I'm in the middle and.
Can I relate to this?
I know.
Barbara.
I know.
So how do I plan
So-
my future when my focus is Barbara? I get it. I totally get
I
it.
don't even want to think about Hawaii right now. Like, that's too much.
Yeah.
I look forward to Hawaii, but not, like, I don't even want that on my plate right now. So I'm struggling, and I'm sure other people in the audience are having the same thing. I'm struggling with putting things on
This
my
is
list because it all feels, that's why I'm sharing.
Overwhelming.
Because I'm like, oh, I don't want the good stuff right now. I don't want the bad stuff right now. I don't want any more stuff right now.
So here's what I want to offer you. What you're doing is you're not, they're already here. You already have them. These things that you're talking about, Hawaii and whatever else could possibly be like that, is already in your life. You already know about that. Put it on the paper and create a little distance. It's on the paper now. I won't forget. It's there. I'll refer to it. When I need to kind of just collect myself, I'll read my list. And it'll tell me I've got a full, rich life.
Yeah, my feeling is my list 12 years ago was long and fun to make.
Yeah.
And this one has not been.
Okay. I
So
totally get what you're saying.
It just I knew I was, in administrative overload.
So
But now
let
it's
your
really,
list,
I'm
let
really
your
aware of
list
it.
be a
this.
healing.
Okay,
Let it be a healing for you, to where you're collecting information. You're not pressured to do anything with it right now. In fact, by putting it on the list, other than obviously your children and your mom and your husband, specific outcomes that you might experience in your many years left on this planet are there, and your list is always available to you. And in fact, by putting it on the list, some of those things, you won't have to do anything right now other than know that they're there, and that they're gently and lovingly waiting for you when the time is right.
Okay, I'll chew on that.
Yeah, and perhaps the way to do that is go ahead and pick a date way out somewhere. You can always bring the date forward. Put those things out 6, 8, 10 years. Yeah. And go, I'll get there. It'll happen, but not now. Let it be a healing for you. Good for you. And you're probably right. It probably was fun. I think it's fascinating that you remember doing this with Barbara, because I'm the only one that ever did this. Barbara was in the room, but Barbara never led this.
I remember if you two jointly shared
We often did.
the classroom in that exercise, but
I
I
don't know.
remember at some point her saying, like, I'm borrowing this from John or something, and maybe it was a prosperous.
Who knows?
Practitioner one.
Sure,
class.
it could have been something like
I
that.
don't know, but I've done it more than once.
Okay, I'm sure, and it's a good thing to do. And there are many stories of people just writing the list out and not reviewing it, not going through it again, putting it away, and then pulling it out later and realizing they did almost all of them, without much effort. Some people can do that, and some people can't. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But what I have to do is I have to keep it close and review it it doesn't have to be every day, especially if you've got other things that are just screaming at you to do. But having that list can be comforting as much as it can be motivating. You just decide how you want to use it. There's another question.
I did have a question.
Yes, Kim Marie.
Referring to,
You don't have to get up to, you can do it from there.
Referring to what she just said,
Uh-huh.
would it be helpful on this list to put something like having some resolve or some peace around how I'm working with my mom or how I'm working with my children or something like that, and have a date to that? Like, would that be helpful?
I
or-
have a healthy, loving relationship with my mom by 2027. I'm still going to be on the planet. Maybe she will. Her choice.
Like, just to open that
Yeah,
space
yeah,
so that other
Yeah,
things
and there,
can come
another
in.
element of this we're going to get into later is, what do you have to do before you do that, before you get there? What are the incremental steps? And we'll talk about that in a little bit, okay? But right now, and unless we have more questions, it's time to work on your list. So start based on the parameters we've talked about. What else belongs on your list? You already know these things. The idea is just overt them. Let them come out into your conscious mind rather than just your subjective mind as hidden, unremembered things. Let them come to the surface. See what's on your list. And don't worry about being overwhelmed by how big the list is. That just means you're going to live longer. All right? So here's your time to do that. We're going to spend about 15 minutes on this. Going on here. Obviously, everybody can't finish this tonight. And I'm compelled to bring back up something that Andrea said when she was up here talking about several years ago, she did this process and she'd love to go dig it out from wherever it is. That's what most people do. I want to encourage you to make this a living document that you use, that doesn't get buried in a file cabinet or a box, but that it's something you refer to. What I did when Barbara and I were doing treatments for people in the center and for colleagues and communities around the world, all this stuff was right at the front of it. I had a title page that had my name, my full legal name on it, and my purpose. The second page, you saw it, it had my values on the second and third page, and on and on and on. And I really used this and referred to it. So before we do all our treatment work in the morning, I would do it. It wasn't like I didn't know what was in there, but I needed to be reminded. I needed to think those thoughts again and again to remember that that's where I'm going. And most of the things I put on those over the years have come out. Some things that, that weren't so easy. Writing a book. How many people in this room has written and published a book? Easy? Hell no. It's real work. So when I accomplished that twice, I feel like I got a good start. I've actually got another one on my list. But to speak again to what Andrea talked about, that idea of being an overwhelm in your life, I have all this stuff going on, all these responsibilities, what am I really going to put on that list? So to speak from my heart as to what's going on with that is that, yes, my first priority when I retire in a few days is Barbara, to support Barbara and be with Barbara. But I'll go crazy if I have to sit and watch TV with her all day. So I have a deal with her sister. Her sister's going to continue to come and spend at least a couple days a week with her. And when she does that, I really have things I want to accomplish. And they may not be the lofty things that I've often had on my list. They're things on the grounds of my house that need to be handled. There's things on the walkways that I need to pressure wash them and put a coat of stain on them. I need to do that. Either I do it or I pay somebody to do it, but it's got to get done. And I got a whole list of that kind of stuff. Those are decent things to do because someday I'll want to sell that house and I want it to be in good order when I do it, And not just for the value that I'll get from the house. I hear realtors saying all the time, now don't worry about all that stuff. Sell it the way it is. And that's not going to work for me. And I want to live in a house that things are together. I've got this place at the door when I walk into the basement. At the base of the trim around the door, the paint is peeling off. That drives me crazy. But when am I going to do it? So painting is on my list. It's going to get done. So those kind of things help me with the overwhelm of the moment, knowing that I've got a list of things and I can rely on my ability to get things done, to have them done. Yay. And there are things beyond that. I believe I've still got another book in me. Not right now. Out. But for right now, I'm working in a way I haven't done this before for me personally, and I'm still making it work. You had a thought,
I
Darcy?
was just gonna say, a lot of those things that you're talking about, I've been doing as I've been releasing a lot of things
Good.
from my life. That list is getting shorter and shorter.
Isn't that lovely?
It feels so good.
It does feel good. And those kinds of things are not separate from this work.
Exactly.
They're part of this work.
Exactly.
Creating order and structure and outcomes that you desire. And the things you're talking about, the things I'm talking about are outcomes. They just are. I've got things I want to sell. I want to be useful to somebody else. It's not like by selling them, I'll have this great amount of wealth. I'll have much more feeling about knowing they're being well used rather than stacked up somewhere and not being used. So all those kind of things are part of this. And that's part of living that abundant, fulfilling life. Even though they seem like the drudgery of day-to-day stuff, they're important. They're important to the mix. Yes?
Were these stacked up somewhere and were
Oh, yes.
use of them?
Oh, yes.
I had a feeling.
Yes. Yes. You received tonight a CD called Riches and Honor by Edwin Gaines. And that gift comes certainly from Edwin because she paid for it. But she has given me the authority to use them as I find fit. And I find it fit to give them to those who come to the class. So when you come to class, you get a gift. You get something that Edwin of her wisdom. So that's what you got from us tonight. So, okay. So you've done some level of work. Now we're going to talk about the essence of what you're creating here, these ideas. And I have things that I want you to use to consider in how this works. Now, I'm not, if I put something up here and it's prior, or it's what's the word I want to use? It's contrary to the thing that you wrote down. I'm not telling you to just cross it out and don't do it. Just rethink it to a way that it works inside of this, okay? And this thing that we're doing, this grand plan that we're all doing for our lives. So these are I call them elements of achieving desired outcomes. And the first one is desired outcomes must be in alignment with your purpose statement and your shared values. So what you do is you compare your purpose to each one of these outcomes that you've written. Are they in alignment? Now, it may not be that you see some grand connection to them. That's all right. But is there something about them that is out of alignment with it? And I was sitting here knowing what I was going to start with this and thinking, what could I put down there? Well, if your purpose is to experience and spread love and joy in the world to everyone in your life, and you're planning to disown someone or divorce someone, or if that's part of your plan, you may want to rethink how you're approaching that. I'm not saying that you have to stay with someone that you're miserable with, but how could you rethink that idea in a way that would be in alignment with your purpose? Now, I'm sure many of you didn't write down such challenging things, but you know, those things happen. And sometimes it's important to end relationships, but how do you do it in a way that's in alignment with your purpose and your values? That's the work. So this is the litmus test. Are these things that I'm doing here that I say that I'm going to achieve in the rest of my life, are they truly in alignment with what I'm saying is my reason for being here and the highest qualities that I hold dear? If they are, whew, fantastic. If they're not, there's some restructuring to do. That's all. Because you don't want to have this foundation of what you're doing be in conflicting with the roof of your life. You know how we had that thing that I drew last week with that had the roof was your outcomes and the base was the foundation was your purpose and such. They have to be compatible. So that's an important piece of the puzzle. The next one is desired outcomes are achieved by maintaining regular and ongoing focus on the results you seek. Now, again, we had this conversation with Andrea about how she has this level of overwhelm. So how do I do this? Well, you use it in a way that is a healing, that is supportive. You don't do it to pressure yourself. And yes, I know I talked about that tension between where you are now and where you want to be, but don't make that a problem. That's actually a blessing. It means there are good things coming in your life, good things that you will eventually focus your attention on and create in your life in a meaningful way. So that's good. And you want to keep this thing out. Do not let it get sucked into a box or, God, even worse, into the trash. You want to make it a living document. In fact, here's something I offer you. Any of you that work in a computer, I want you to rework this entire thing that you've done here into pages in a computer. Everybody's got Word or Apple, into a format that you can print out. And if you don't happen to have them, Margot has brought us drilled three-hole paper that you can put in your printer and print this stuff out and replace your scribbly notes with, so that you can actually have this thing close and have it have value in your life. What I had to do to make this work was not use a Duotang folder. Duotang folder is a great thing for a working level, but once you're actually using this, I went out and bought a leather-bound 3-ring binder and paid a ridiculous amount for it so that I knew that what was in it had value. And that's what I keep mine in. And most of you touched it as we moved it around the room that night. So I did that for me to say, this is not just transitory stuff, this is important. And so I keep it next to where I do my treatment work, and I open it up and feel the leather and use it to know that my life has value. So that may seem superficial, but for me it was important.
So have you been able to cross things out as you?
Oh God, yes, for years. Oh, absolutely. And the way it works is, I'm not teaching this class again. So please don't let this be the end of this process for you. If you find value in it, when I was taught it, I got it. I said, oh yeah, this is a way to organize my life. And that's why I teach it to you, because I believe in it and I've used it. And I've had some pretty damn big successes in my life. I mean, I had on my list at one time that I was going to facilitate the bringing together of the two organizations that make up religious science. And I'll be damned if everything didn't fall into alignment for that to happen. It did. You know, I said I was going to write 2 different books. They were both on the list at different times. And it happened. And I've got that 3rd one on my list now, but I'm pushing the date out because that's not to do right now. But if I'm not feeble in a few years and, you know, unable, I'm going to write this book because I think it has value and that people will get a lot out of it. Yes.
I went back to the master Google and pulled up a list of things to put on a bucket list, not because I want someone else's bucket list, but for inspiration.
Yeah, sure.
And it sparked.
Yeah, it kind of got, that's a great idea. Yeah, things on a bucket list on Google it. See if there's stuff on there that resonates with you. That's a great
And
idea.
it was cool, there was things on there I'd done, on their bucket.
That's fantastic. That's fun. Yes.
I see this as a mental vision board.
Well, vision boards are great. We just don't have time to do a vision board here. Barbara did vision boards. That was her thing. And I'm sure she did them with a bunch of you, and she did one. And it's still up in her office.
You did one last year.
No, I didn't. Last year?
Well,
No.
oh, it was Barbara. I was
Yeah.
watching it online. Okay.
And that was not last year. Okay, you watched it last year.
Yes.
Okay, well, she's got hers.
But I
So
see.
the idea of vision boards is a great tool. We're going to do a different one, similar but not the same tonight.
Okay.
Okay, vision boards. The challenge I have with vision boards now is there just aren't that many good magazines to cut pictures out of anymore. You know, magazines are kind of losing their place.
But this goes way beyond just your physical vision board. It's a psychological.
Oh, it's all that.
Yeah.
It's all that to
Mental,
use your
spiritual.
ability to envision outcomes. That's all part of the game. Part of that game. Kimberly, you want to say something? Okay. So, let's keep going with our ideas here on the elements of achieving desired outcomes. Got a couple more here. Many desired outcomes require a strategy of incremental action steps and milestones. And this is something we're going to work on a little bit here in a few minutes. But that's true. Nothing that you have on there that is worth doing is a one-step deal. It's just not going to happen that way. It's going to happen incrementally, step by step. And there's a way to do that. So we're going to talk about that here in a couple of minutes. Write this down. If you like apps, there are a couple that can help you with your list. One's called Way of Life, and the other one is called Momentum. If you like that, if you like using apps to keep track of your progress, those are 2 that have potential for you. What we're going to talk about in a while has to do with backward goal setting, where you actually, in your thinking, go to the thing as fully formed in your mind as you can, the outcome that you desire, moving beyond desire into seeing it being so, and studying it from there. And that's what we're going to do in a few minutes. But then before that, you have to look at what are the steps that need to happen. And sometimes you can look at them backwards, like, well, what's the last step that's going to happen for this to happen? And what's the step before that that's going to happen before that, until you come to the place, well, okay, here's the first step. And some people would prefer to do it that way. They're just so linear that they want to say, well, what's the first thing I have to do? And then when I do that, what's the next thing I'm going to have to do that would be a milestone in this? So you can do it either way, forward or backward, but both of them are valid ways to start looking at how that thing is ever going to happen. And all this sounds like a lot of work maybe, but the beauty of it is, and it falls so perfectly into our class because that's based in metaphysics, is that you're envisioning that the thought that you have, the vision that you have, is the first step of creation. You can't create it if you can't envision it. Well, what are you creating if you don't have a plan? It's not about the plan so much as having a real understanding of what it is you want to get to. And is it going to look like that in the end? Probably not. But you're going to get way closer to it if you do this kind of work than you're going to get to it if you don't do this kind of work. Otherwise, it's just kind of hopeful thinking, wishful thinking, which goes really nowhere. But when you continuously and rigorously look at it again and again and again, what it does is it creates a pattern in your thinking, and that creates an outcome in your life. Yeah,
So setting an intention to the universe.
absolutely. But it's not just to the end. It's actually because you're still in charge of this unfolding process. And Edwin will always say, how is none of your business? But
Right.
the process really is your business. Now, what I would say is that it doesn't always happen the way you envisioned it. It often doesn't. Doesn't matter. But the fact, often better. But the fact that you're generating intention and attention to that outcome allows you to own it and allows it to move forward. God, that's what I did in bringing the two organizations together. I was thinking about it day and night. I was caught up in it all the time. I didn't agree with everything that happened. And now I can look back and see, in some cases, I was right. And the things that other people really pushed to do did not work out. Okay, there were things that I thought were the perfect direction of putting the pieces together for this, that in the first 3 years of the organization, the leadership said, nah, we're not going to do that anymore. But it's all right. The thing happened. The bottom line happened. It came together. That was what was important. Above all else, above all the details and all the possibilities, it came together. That was the important thing. What do you want to say, Troy?
John, I came across, I Googled a few things on my phone.
Yeah.
And I came across an acronym, SMART.
Well, hold on. Go ahead and let's get it on the recording.
I Googled an acronym, SMART, S-M-A-R-T. And it said that SMART can help remember that a desired outcome should be specific, measurable, achievable in a given time frame, realistic, and time-phased indicating. So,
That's cute. That's great. I agree with all that.
well, and it's things that you said, but a couple of quick Googles.
I would have stolen. And talk into the mic if you're going to talk to me.
A couple of quick Googles, though, on the subject matter, opens a tremendous amount of information.
Absolutely. Use your resources.
Use our resources.
Put that on your resource list. Google. It truly is. All right. Thank you. Connie, you have a question or a comment?
I was just gonna say,
Hold on. Don't just say it until you got the mic. Here you go.
I was just gonna agree that, using SMART goals and measures is something that I use in my work as a grant writer all the time.
I bet.
Because we have to, outline what outcomes a project
Sure.
is going to
There
have.
has to be. They're not going to give you money if you can't clearly state where you're going to
Absolutely.
get with that money.
Absolutely, and I think that's true in our lives.
Why would it be different? Yeah, I absolutely agree. Very good. Spoken from a professional who knows how to do stuff like that. That's great. All right, let's see what else we got on my list here. A single peer coach or mentor who is supportive and willing to witness your progress. Having a single person, preferably not your life partner, someone else. Why just one? Well, what I have discovered, what I believe is that our desired outcomes are very personal. And to throw them out for everyone to see is very vulnerable, maybe too vulnerable for me. Because there's always going to be people that go, nah, you can't do that. Yeah, I don't see it. We played that little game one night where you said what it was you were giving up and what you were doing instead. And I had people challenge you on it. And that was intentional. In that structure, it really worked. But when you're in this ongoing desire to create change in your life, to create outcomes in your life, you only want to include in your tight little circle those that absolutely will support you. And the best way not to do that is to pick one person and ask them to be there for you. Now, they don't have to be somebody who's going to tell you what to do. They don't have to be somebody who's done what you've done. They have to be someone who can believe in you. That's really the only important part of it, that they believe in you, that they, whatever you choose to do, they will witness your intention and support you by joining you and knowing this is done. That can be so powerful. And then what you have to do is you have to let them know how you're doing. You have to talk with them and say, here's the progress that I've made on my list, on my things. And let them encourage you and celebrate with you and acknowledge you for making some progress. It's so helpful. At least it is for me. I don't know if it is for everybody. I just know that I love to be encouraged. I love to be, I'll take a compliment to anywhere, to the moon. I love being complimented. It just makes me feel good. Makes me feel like, yeah, I'm doing stuff. It has value. What I'm doing has value. And to be acknowledged by another person, you know, and I happen to live in a way that people I don't even know send me emails that say, what you said in this article or what you said on this Sunday morning talk touched me deeply, made a difference in my life. God, heart be still. I love that. And you could say that's ego-based, but frankly, no, it validates what I'm here to do. And to me, that's important. Maybe other people don't need that, and that's fine. God bless you if you don't need it. But for me, that really helps. You know, so I encourage you to have one specific person other than your life partner that you can share your list with, that you trust will be there for you and believe in you no matter what. Okay, that's that one. And that section is complete. So we have one other task that I want to do tonight. Oh, I had another thought that I wanted to share. Let's see if there's anything about this last one. Let me go back to it, make sure we got it. Yeah. Now, I covered most of that. Here, I watched a movie this week with Barbara. And we just recently resubscribed to HBO and Showtime in a package from our cable provider. And in doing so, we found that there's a lot of movies we never heard of. And so we're scanning the movies, looking for something to watch. And one came up that I knew nothing about. And Jennifer Lawrence is the star of it. And the movie is called Joy. Anybody watch Joy? Yeah. Okay. You should all watch Joy. Yeah, it's based on a true story. And Jennifer Lawrence was the lead actor in what were the games called? The Hunger Games. So you might remember her from that. Story of a woman who had no reason to make it. And nobody was really working in her favor. She had a friend, and her friend loved her and supported her. But her friend had no business acumen or ability to help her on this journey she had of creating something. She had an ex-husband that turned out being a better friend than a husband. But for the most part, the rest of her family and the people in her life didn't believe in her and thought that she was a loser. But she believed in herself in an extraordinary way. And with that, even a minimum amount of those couple of people, she managed to do some extraordinary things in the world and create amazing wealth. And watching her story was grueling for me. But at the same time, wow, I just loved it. So I encourage you, if you can, if you have access to such things, watch a movie called Joy with Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah. It'll give you a perspective that anyone could use. Okay, that was the end of that. All right, so we're going to go through another process here. And we're going to leave the lights on because you're going to be wanting to write some things down. To do the process, what we're going to do is, and this is some visioning, some visualization work. I want you to pick one of your desired outcomes, one that's important to you. Not necessarily the thing that's going to happen next, but something that you can go, that one's going to happen. I'm going to do that. Don't know how, maybe, But I know that I have this deep desire to have this happen in my life. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes with that information of knowing which one that is. If you need to read it one more time off your list, do that. But chances are you know it so well you don't even need to look at it. And with your eyes closed, know that we're going to do some visualizing. If you don't do visualization, it is an amazing tool that can help anyone build a picture of to see and understand certain aspects of what is desired to be created. So you've got your outcome. You know what it is. You have a general idea of when you imagine that will happen. That's important. So with your eyes closed, I want you to go to that time and wherever the place would be where you would be experiencing this outcome in your life. Maybe it's at your place of work. Maybe it's in some other part of the world. Maybe it's at home. Wherever it is, I want you to be there. Go there right now and be in that place. Be in that time when your outcome is fully formed. Whatever this thing is that you're imagining, could be an achievement like running a marathon or paying off all your debt. Or it could be something more tangible like buying a new car or being on a worldwide adventure somewhere. Whatever it is, just be there. Be at that point where you can see it, you can feel it, and you can know it. So from that place, my first question to you is, at that place, what is different about your life? Yeah, you've achieved something or you've acquired something. But what's the bigger thing going on? What is it that you've learned about yourself from this journey? So you've got the thing, you've got the condition, whatever it is, whether it's that you've brought some great gift to the world or that you have received some great understanding or experience, whatever it is, how do you celebrate that? Do you jump up and down? Do you do the happy dance? Do you cry? Do you embrace someone? What's going on that allows you to celebrate this outcome? Now I want you to look around wherever it is that you are at this moment of this fully realized outcome. What's going on? Who's there with you? What are they doing? How do they fit into this incredible experience of your life? What is it about this that allows you to feel more fully expressed in your life? Are you clearer about your path, about your purpose, about who you are in the world, about who you've come here to be? Are you feeling that you have uplifted people around you in a way that makes a real difference in their lives? Are you feeling honored by those around you for doing something important? Perhaps you're just with one person, that this moment of connection is deep and profound. What are the elements of this thing that you are experiencing? Beyond what you see, what are you feeling? What is your emotional state as this is happening? Do you feel more confident? Do you feel clear? Do you feel acknowledged? Do you feel like you've done something worthy of your time and energy? Are you looking at some great wonder of the world? What is it about this moment that you can capture in your emotional state? So connect all these pieces. Let what you're seeing, perhaps you're hearing things. Perhaps there's sounds that are evident to you in the midst of all this. Perhaps there's something to taste or touch. Whatever it is, make this as real as you possibly can in this moment. And when you've got this, when it's as though you're right there, right now, and nothing could be more real. Gently open your eyes and write down the impressions that have come to you. Write down what it is that you have captured in this understanding. You can write it in words. You can write it in images or drawings of whatever it is. What comes to mind that is so real in this moment you want to record this and not lose it? And I'll leave you with that for a few moments. When you've got your ideas pretty well formed as best you can in this moment, spend a moment thinking and writing down what you can envision about what you did to get there. What did it take to get there? And that could be a quality. It could be that you stayed clear about where you were going. It could be that there were steps that seem so clear to you in this moment. Just write those thoughts down. They'll be invaluable to you later. Maybe you had to do some research. Maybe you had to get a license, some kind of license to do it. Maybe you had to ask someone for help. Whatever comes, write it down. So I know there's much more to think about, but our time is coming to an end. I want to talk to you about this thing that you're creating with your purpose and your values and your resources, your outcomes. This is all still in an embryonic stage. And the only way this thing will evolve is if you spend time with it. Now, you don't have to spend an hour a day. 15 minutes a day reading through this stuff would make all the difference. Because you would be reading down the list of things, and you would say, this isn't quite right. It's like more like this. You would change something. You would put another element to it. You would see something you didn't see before, and you would give it more life, and it would grow. And if you do that, you're in the creative process. You're actually giving life to these outcomes, which, is the thing that everybody wants, is the outcomes in their lives. But you give it in a way that is rich and meaningful and powerful for you. And you get those ideas that would be in your way that would tell you you can't, or you shouldn't, or you don't have what it takes, and get those things out of your way so that you can have these things because you deserve them. You absolutely deserve them. But the only way they're ever going to show up is if you create them. And I'd love to tell you could think about it once and that would be enough. And for some things it is. But for the most part, we have to work them. We have to think about them. We have to give them life. And they're ours to give life to. So I encourage you to find, at least on weekdays, you can take the weekend off, but at least on weekdays, find 15 minutes to work on this thing you're creating. 15 minutes. You spend more time in the bathroom. But give it a little time and see if the little nuances that you're adding to it don't motivate you to a place of greater understanding and fulfillment in making this happen. To me, this is a prosperous life. This is the life that we're in charge of. And we're creating the things we want out of this life. So this is what I've got for you tonight. We've done some good work. We've looked at how to evolve these ideas of desired outcomes. You've got a gift from Edwene. We spent some good time, had some good food, and we've done our work. So what we've got left to do is for me to bring these baskets over and for us to complete our time together tonight. So of course, now would be a good time to take out what you're going to give. I feel compelled to say this tonight. There are people in the room that are great supporters of this center, tithers, people who have a system for doing that, sending a check through the mail or through the website or going to that donation station at the back of this room. And they may not put something in these baskets, but they're supporting the center extraordinarily well. So I don't catch yourself judging anybody whether they're putting something in here or not. Many people have their system, and I'm not challenging that in any way. But it really is important, if you want to get the most out of this, to support this center in whatever way that works for you. So what I know is that the presence and the power of the one is right here, right now. It's in the air. It's in my breath. It's in my thought. It's in my life, because it is my life. And as much as it's my life, I know it's the life of everyone here, in this room and far beyond, watching this experience through their computers. And I know that in this experience of life, this dynamic flow that we do is an essential piece of the puzzle, that we give and we receive. And so this is our time to give. It's our time to give to this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville in a way that serves our life, that helps us create our destiny, that supports us in being able to demonstrate that we're getting the good of this work that we're doing and that it's making a difference in our lives. So we pass these baskets and we allow those that are doing this tonight to support us in this way, knowing that all is perfectly unfolding in every way because God is still all there is. And so it is.
I'll do that later. Oh, one moment, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Stephen. So as we love to do, we put a blessing on these, knowing that these gifts are received joyously, gratefully, and these that give are blessed in their giving, demonstrating that dynamic flow in their lives by joyously supporting the center, and that what they give is returned to them multiplied abundantly, because that's how it works. And we let that be the truth right here, right now, and forevermore, in gratitude and love, as together we say. So it is. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week. I'll be here next Monday night. Looking forward to seeing you then.